Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, September 16th. If you have any questions, comments, come up to the podium, and if we're going to vote on something, I'll always try to give you time to speak your piece, and of course, under public comment, we'll ask you to speak your piece there, too. We need to, well, let's do the roll call first. I'm sorry. Call the roll.
Mayor Cedar?
Here.
Councilmember Gottler?
Here.
Councilmember Kufa is absent. Councilmember Laporte?
Here.
Councilmember Paul?
Here.
Councilmember Volz?
Here.
Councilmember Watt?
Here.
Make a motion to excuse Councilmember Cuffa.
Supported.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
I've been asked by Mr. Bishop if we can add to new business, letter C, pay time off proposal. I will need a motion to support to put that on the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, then that's 9C, pay time off proposal. Let's go to our presentation tonight. East China School District Sinking Fund. Angie, you're up.
Good evening. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Angie Gleason. I'm the Finance Director at East China School District. I'm here this evening to share some information about a proposal that you'll see on the November 5th ballot. It has to do with the sinking fund, and just a quick overview of where the district has come over the past few years. So in 2017 and 18, there was a facility assessment done by an outside company, and they had determined that there was about $100.9 million that needed to be improved and upgraded at the school district. So along with the facility assessment and a strategic plan, or there was a need for a strategic plan to right-size the district and the right size, the square footage of the district, and all of the buildings were in need of improvement, technology, all of that to be upgraded. So the 2020 bond was passed. Technology upgrades, infrastructure, student and educational, new furniture throughout the district, new lighting, flooring, paint throughout the district. We resized or right-sized buildings to student enrollment. We'll be closing gearing. There was a 4-classroom addition added onto the St. Clair campus, 2 wings demolished at the Marine City Middle School campus, the build of a new gym at the St. Clair campus. There'll be a new build of the JV baseball field at the Marine City campus. And there were identified upgrades to HVAC, roofing, boilers, and electrical. So with that, what our district looks like today is we have 7 locations, multiple athletic fields, the Performing Arts Center, playgrounds, 30 buses in our fleet, significant amount of technology that we continue to maintain and improve as needed. Along with the enhancements, we've added many pieces to our classroom and our curriculum. Some of the few of the enhancements are lower classroom sizes in young 5s, kindergarten, 1st grade, and 9th grade classes, elementary and middle school interventionists, the addition of the East Star program, fine arts programs, including the Performing Arts Center, athletic programs, including 2 pools and a stadium with track and turf, social workers at every school, safety and security director, and 2 safety specialists have been added. New and updated curriculum at all levels, secondary and elementary curriculum directors for the district, and an early childhood care supervisor. So with this comes a list of new priorities. And with our capital improvements, with the structure and the contents, our locations and the contents and the property around the buildings have a total value of $238 million, which as a district, the industry standard is to reinvest capital improvement of about 2%, which equals about $4.7 million. And then along with our bus fleet that I talked about, we have 30 buses, and with a replacement plan looking out 10 years is about $503,000 per year. And technology upgrades, which include, network infrastructure, classroom technology, the one-to-one devices that our students have, central servers, and district technology, and office building and facility technology as it outdates. That equates to about $558,000 per year. Those dollars and those interests are what we use to derive at the 2.75 mils we're asking for in a sinking fund. It's over 10 years. The 2.75 mil would bring the district just over $6 million annually that we would use to address these types of items. I've provided 2 documents to members. The first is it's the full color one sheet flyer. That gives you an idea of what the chart to the right gives you an idea of what the bond covered. That's the blue stars on the grid. And then the orange items would be sinking fund approved items. And then the last piece on that flyer that I want to point out is that debt comparison. Currently, the school district levies 2.34 mils in debt. With the addition of the sinking fund, it would put us at 5.09, and that puts us a little bit more at par with the districts in the area that has sinking funds. And then the last piece that I shared is our frequently asked questions document. Both of these documents, along with a sinking fund mill calculator, can be found on our district website. So ecsd.us, and then there's a sinking fund button that you can click to get these documents as well as that sinking fund calculator. So with that, does anyone have any questions? Can I answer any questions?
On this sheet right here of the St. Clair River, is that what you call the school that's on Yankee?
Yes. So
And is that going to be,
that will be the students from Gearing. Student and staff from Gearing will move to Yankee. And so to put it in line with Pine River and Bell River and Palms, that will be called St. Clair River Elementary.
the kids from Marine City Elementary are they going out there? Or
Nope.
where would they go then?
The Marine City Elementary students that are at Bell
Are
River
staying at their
and
elementary?
Palms will stay, yes. The only elementary students moving at this time are Gearing,
Yes.
correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you, Angie.
My pleasure.
Hey, Bill has his
Well, question back here.
Oh,
Angie, you can sit down if you want. If we
Okay.
need you back up, we'll call you back up there.
sounds good.
Bill Clemmer, 1374 South Riverside. You didn't mention that you want to purchase some land with this money.
No,
Well, you know you're not.
correct.
It's in the ballot language, purchase real estate.
The language has the option of purchasing land? There's no plan
So
to
we
purchase land.
don't need no land? Because I was just wondering, we just give a bunch of it away over there. The 6-point change mill, what do you project that to be in 10 years? With new tax base coming in the township, or the district, and increase of taxable value in the district. So what do you think that might be in 10 years?
If I respond from
Why
here?
don't you, is that your last question, Bill, or?
Yeah, and if it does pass, you're gonna obviously collect $6 million on this sinking fund. So that's gonna take a $6 million off your general fund, basically, right? So what are you gonna do with the excess now in your general fund, $6 million?
Thank you, Angie.
Yes. Okay, the first question was, what do I project the $6 million to be in 10 years? Well, it will increase with the rate of taxable values of our community. So I would love to be able to predict that. I can't, but it will increase with that at 2.75 mils for the sinking fund. And then secondly, the question was, so it would be in addition to our general fund dollars? This sinking fund, $6 million a year, would be in addition. So what it will do is it will allow us to not have to make cuts in our general fund. 85 to 87% of our general fund is salary and benefits for our staff. And so should the sinking fund not pass, we will have to use our general fund dollars to make some of these capital improvements as needed. So the addition of the $6 million levied from the 2.75 mils would be in addition, and it would allow us to appropriate our general fund as we have been. So hope that answers all the questions.
Yep. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Angie. We'll go to number 5. Consent agenda, City Council minutes of September 3rd, 2024, regular meeting recommendation approved, and the Cemetery Board of Trustees minutes of August 19th, 2024, meeting recommendation received.
I'll make a motion, but I do have a question also. This is the second time we've read on Cemetery Board of Trustees questions about the lawn contract or issues with trimming, cutting, edging. Have you followed up on any of that or had any conversations about what's happening with that?
I have actually just last week before I left for the MML conference, had a sit-down conversation with J&J Landscaping, and we reviewed the terms of the contract, and we reviewed when cuts are supposed to occur, what's going to occur, and there were some pretty good explanations on why some days they weren't cut. But what I emphasized were rainouts,
Okay.
or if there was a funeral, they would put their attention on that area to make it look as pretty as possible, for the family that day. What I emphasized to them, though, was that the cuts and the trimming must occur on all sections, even the old section that doesn't get a lot of traffic, right? It's still part of the envelope of the cemetery, and so it needs to be cut on a weekly basis, and we talked about that extensively.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a motion to have support.
Not yet.
Support. All right, the motion made, support. Any questions? No in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Angie, I know you're a busy lady. If you want to scat on out of here, go ahead.
You can stay.
You did a good job. Didn't hesitate to take that off. Oh, no, I want to stay, Mr. Cedar, come on. All right, we'll go to 6, ordinances, resolution. Hey, resolution 2415, fiscal year 24 budget amendments, Mr. Bishop.
Yeah, this is a resolution. It's an annual budget amendment. These are something that has to happen every year. What we do is we declare that we have the most true and accurate information we have from our finance department in relation to what we believe our end of the year fiscal year costs are going to be. And in the packet, as you can see, stapled to the back of it, are budget amendments. I'm happy to explain any anomalies that you think jump off at the page. But I will say, and I do want to mention that estimates last year, they were made with 11 months in mind. And so after the end of last fiscal year, finance and I had a meeting, and I said, really what we want to do is we want to estimate on 13 months. What do you think our costs are going to be? Because what happened is we shorted ourselves the 12th month. We gave real-time numbers in September, or basically August, and that was 11 months worth of bills. The 12th month rolled around, and we exceeded what our budget amendments were, and the auditors caught it. And they said, hey, it's much better to be under budget, right? You anticipated X amount of cost at the end of the year, and so it's better that you don't do that. You don't cut yourself short. So we estimated at 13 months, and so some of these, once we get the audit back sent to us, we will see that these aren't the hard numbers. These are still estimates, and that's important to note. Okay? Is there any line item that you'd like me to describe?
Can you just touch on roads a little bit? Between the difference between local and major, and kind of where, we went over a little bit, it looks like.
Yep.
And
So the difference between major and local streets. So any local street is going to basically be our interior streets. Our major are far fewer, but it's things like Kearney, parts of Brown, North 6th. You're going to have Fredmore Highway, Clinton Avenue. Those are major arteries, and so there's less roads, and we didn't focus on those roads this year. So that's the major difference. Okay. So what has to occur are some transfers. So if I look here and I say, okay, on the revenue side of the house for local streets, so we anticipated about $1.3 or 1.4, we'll call it in the very beginning. But after the transfers, we're saying, okay, actually, it's going to be about 2 million we're going to be bringing into local streets, and that's a change of just over 650,000. We tracking so far?
Yeah.
On local streets, okay.
Yep.
But then you go over and we said, okay, well, why did we make that big transfer? We made that big transfer to align ourselves with our expenses, which is just over 2 million. What caused that when we thought it was only going to be 1.5? A lot of that has to do with construction administration and inspection costs. So when we built the roads, the road plan, in the very beginning, we thought maybe, you know what, we would be able to look at those roads and do a bit of the, I'm not going to call it engineering, but we can come up with the estimates ourselves on some of the roads that we're going to do. In that part of that process, AEW took that over, and they paid for that, or we paid for that, for those services. And I thought that at the end of the day was a smart thing to do. AEW oversaw all of it. So the construction administration, design, and engineering. So those are some additional costs we anticipate. Major streets, as you can see, we had one little carryover at the very beginning of the year. The change is not that drastic. It's only actually, we're a little actually under budget, about $60,000. Okay? Municipal streets, the best way to describe it is a pass-through fund. So you have Public Act 51 money coming in, we have millage money coming in, and what I like to do is I like to put it in 204, because I say 204. 204 is just a fund number that means municipal streets. That's what the fund 204 is. So I put those monies in 204, and then I pull them out as we need them. So as of right now, we said, okay, well, we have $703,000 going in. We actually had $768,000 go into the municipal funds account. That's sitting there right now. Okay, and the expenses, $740, still $82,000 under budget, what we thought. So locals did need more. Okay, we usually transfer, and we have another transfer due. We haven't made all the transfers by the end of the year yet. It's not a BS, but it will be done here in the next. Well, I should say, not going into great detail. Our finance director right now had been admitted to the hospital, so that's where she is right now. Okay, so we will get this all done, but that's where our finance director is. And the last meeting that I had with her was that local streets we went over. We did. It was just, once it got down to the end of it, we had to make the transfer. There was about 200 and some short on construction and administration. And so we still need to pull that over. So that's where the big deficits come from.
And then the water fund at the very bottom there, that's probably because of the large amount of work that's about to happen, it looks like there's more money there than we've got so much money moving in from grants and loans.
It's grants for it, and we have to book that as revenue as they come in. So
Sure.
when we pull on a draw, so if we pull a draw for $1.5 million, we've got to recognize that on our books. But it goes in, it sits there, and then when we get the pay application from the contractors, it goes back out.
Okay.
Right? We just have not. We have money setting aside. We're receiving money that hasn't been paid out entirely yet.
Thank you.
Can you tell me about the operating transfers out? 600K change.
The local roads.
That's the transfer for the local roads?
Correct.
Okay. So the total there is 600,000, but is there, unless I'm doing the math wrong, didn't it need $706,000 to cover that overage? Like the 486,356 plus the 220.
What line are you on, Commissioner?
The local roads and the major roads.
Yep.
The change was 486,356 plus 220,06. And so that would be 706,000, unless I'm reading something.
We had. I will double check the finance director's report, but I do believe because there's fund balance and we had some in there already, and you don't need the full amount.
Okay.
It's what to get us through.
Yeah. Okay. And then city general, the change 498,000. That's 40% difference.
Yeah. So we pay out for the hail damage, and then so you'll see that when our roofs were all done. So the note that I have here is that we have insurance that pays out roofs. So when the roof gets done, the insurance company says we need to pay the contractor to do the roof, X, Y, and Z. Check sent to us, we send it to the roofing company. Because we receive it, we have to recognize that on the revenues. Okay, but it's in and out money.
Okay.
But we have to say, hey, this was a portion that came in for roofs, and the hail damage we covered, if I believe, is 5 roofs with $5,000 deductibles. But the way that it goes is that the money is recognized on the revenue side. That's why you see the change of almost 900,000 to the good on revenue. So if you look at the very top line, the original budget called for 4.986, very top line. But look at the amended budget, almost $1 million to the good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when we see unearned income, that's where that goes.
That's where it goes.
Some comes in, comes out. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yep. If there's any other questions and clarity, what I can do is, and our finance director and I, we have been tagging each other back and forth through text. So if there is a question you'd like me to follow up on, I will get a specific answer for you. And if there is time, and like I said, she's been admitted to the hospital, so I'm not going to pressure her into doing anything actually, until she says she's okay. But I can get a full report for you if you'd like.
I'm good. I'll make the motion to adopt the amending the 2023-24 annual budget.
Support.
All right, the motion made, supported. Questions? Anybody in the audience questions? All right, call the roll, please.
Watt,
Yes.
Gottler,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Volz,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll go to number 7, Force Administration. Mr. Bishop, you have anything else?
Yes, I do. I spent 3 days at the MML conference. There were some very good sessions. Some of the sessions I'd heard before, a lot of it about AI, not that it's taking over the world, but just its place in municipal government and how we're going to be utilizing technology more and more. And it's really going to come down to, I believe it's going to come down to its use in water systems and how we track real-time numbers, especially our largest infrastructure. I think AI is going to probably find its home there first. There was heavy emphasis on the recruitment, the retention, and the overall attraction of employees. There was a lot of time on what that means. And in our field, in our profession, people are not coming into it. And in our profession, people are young, especially young people, are not surveying well when it says like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? Nobody's choosing public service. Law enforcement, way down. General administration type jobs, way down. I mean, even firefighters are having a hard time finding people to come work for them. Okay, and so this concept of like, how do we do a better job of communicating the skills and the things that you can provide as a career, but also as a long-term option for younger people entering the field? We spent a lot of time talking about that, and I found most of my sidebar conversations, you sit around coffee in the morning with somebody at the table. That's where it always led to was, what are you doing about people? How are we treating our people? What are you doing about keeping people? And so it was very people-centric. And so I came back with it was a long drive up and a long drive back, and so I came back with some ideas I'd like to start implementing. And we're going to start, there's one new piece of technology, which I think is kind of neat, is people are going away and they want answers to very basic questions. Why did X, Y, Z happen? Right? Or why is my water bill higher? Or cars drive too fast down this road? Or the road is failing on my street. When is it going to be done? What's going to be done? And there's a neat software that people are putting together now, and it's very quickly municipal people, DPW workers, general administrators, code enforcement have the ability to speak directly to a question that they receive in video format answer the question. It's not YouTube or Facebook, but they're saying it and they're recording it and they're sending it out by people who opt in to want to receive those messages. And it's the same way about like a closure or a special meeting that's going to happen, or a commission meeting that's going to happen, or one of the committee's meetings are going to happen, or something's going to be discussed. It's very quick. You can't have more than 15, 20 seconds worth of just an announcement. It's very quick, and it sends out to those who have subscribed to that message. So that was interesting to hear how different communities have used it, and they're trying to get away from the pattern of Facebook and the pattern of social media where one person may have a slanted view on something and you never really get around to getting to the answer first. It starts with somebody's general complaint. And the general complaint, actually 9 times out of 10, is like, it's legit. Like, we should be paying attention to those complaints. The fault that I find with social media is that once the complaint happens and then you pile on the complaint, it turns into something as if like a municipality never addresses it, never talks about it, never addresses it, when in fact we spend quite a bit of time trying to solve these problems, but we do not engage social media and we're not on there pounding keys, right, combating those messages. So the timing's off is what I'm saying. And there's some cool software out there that I'm looking into to see how we can do a better job of communicating to the public about what is actually happening in real time. You know, it's just one more bit of customer service I think we can provide. Okay. I'd like to talk about the bike path for a second. Is what it is. We will talk about it, and we will continue to talk about it until it's done. I had requested from Body Construction their presence at tonight's council meeting. Unfortunately, a representative couldn't come, and it's no fault of their own. It was just timing on my part. However, Body Construction did submit an official letter to the city for an update, and I'll just read the highlights. Directly from Body Construction, this letter is regarding the bike path project still currently under construction, St. Clair, Michigan. The major reason for this letter is to provide an update on the concrete walls that need to be completed in front of the following addresses: 902, 910, 916, 920, 1104 Clinton Avenue. And they gave a little timeline of the delay, and the major delay was this. They could not, after we had asked them to redo the walls, they were not going to move forward until they had stamped and approved drawings for what was going to be asked next. Okay? That took about 3.5 week turnaround for that to happen. And so after Body Construction received the drawings that were stamped and approved, they sent them to HIMCO. HIMCO is a steel supplier, and they estimated the steel would take roughly 2 or 3 weeks to get made. The conversations, this occurred last week, and the steel is to be delivered to the site this week. As soon as the steel is delivered this week, work will resume on demoing and repouring of the walls, redoing the driveways to the addresses listed above. In addition, they will also be performing 45-degree cuts on the corners to make it easier for homeowners to get in and out of their driveways. They will be removing and replacing the wall on the corner of Clinton and 9th to match the existing wall in a better fashion. Throughout the process, they will be grinding the existing wall, touching up the worst spots, redoing some of the existing staircases, and providing a finer finish. They go on to say they apologize for not being able to attend this council meeting, and they understand the frustration. They're working diligently to provide a final product that the city and residents will be happy with. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact the gentleman at the number 810-364-9560, or he can be reached at jaked@bodyconstruction.com. I wanted to just provide that update that we had been on Body Construction, we've been on their radar, and we had requested an official statement from them about when things were going to be completed.
Do they say the steel's coming this week and they'll be out next week?
Yeah, I would imagine first of the week. So what I've heard would be the 23rd.
So there's nothing mentioned about the landscaping up and down Clinton, so I'm assuming that's done then?
Not to our satisfaction, not to, because I actually saw weeds.
There's all kinds of weeds.
Yeah, I see all kinds of weeds.
Explain to me the logistics. And when we apply for a grant, we get the money to do something like this. Does the state give us the money? We now hold it and now we're waiting for completion, or has body been paid in full? Explain to me how this
No,
works.
no, it's through MDOT. MDOT holds it, and so it's MDOT's grant. And so what happens is they will send to AEW, we have performed this work. We believe that we are owed this money for this work completed. It is reviewed by AEW. It's reviewed by myself. Sometimes I call him Bob Beats, say, hey, did this get done? Did this get done? Did that get done? Can you double check on this? I'll call Ryan. Did that get done? Yes, we're good to go. We're satisfied with the work up to this point. Great, submit the pay app. That's how it happens. And then after our approval, then the money's released.
So is that a continual process, or is it a one-time thing? When they're done, you're done, you sign off?
No, it is each step of the way.
Each step,
Each step of the way. And so there are also performance bonds that are held until the very end to making sure that the job is absolutely completely done up to our satisfaction. Those are held in case it's not done. In final pay apps, it's very common practice to hold back a pay app to say, hey, these things are not done yet. There's punch list items that need to be done.
So in your estimate, how much money do you think they've received percentage-wise? 75%, 80,
Yeah,
95?
we're 75, we're 85, 80, 85% right there. Yeah, we're in that ballpark.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. That's how it happens. That's a very good question on how it happens.
You have anything else?
No, not this time.
All right. Mr. Downey?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
City departments. Matt, you have anything?
I do. 49 days until the November 5th presidential election. Ballots are not yet available, but the applications for the ballots are available. Ballots are anticipated September 26th or earlier. Early voting will once again be held here at City Hall, Saturday, October 26th through Sunday, November 3rd, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day. Thank you.
Thank you. The authorities, boards, commissions, anybody have anything? All right, we have no unfinished business. Go to number 9. Excuse me, special event permit, Santa's Lighted Parade.
I'll take this, Your Honor. On behalf of Chief Raker, he is requesting approval for the special event application for the Lighted Santa Parade. The parade committee has scheduled it for Friday, November 22nd at 6 p.m. The route will remain the same, end of the plaza, Vine Street, east M29, south to J Street. The tree lighting will take place immediately following the parade in Palmer Park.
Make a motion to approve.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Let's go to B, approved property and liability insurance renewal.
The annual premium for the renewal was received. The rate is $112,344, which is an increase from last year of $14,802. However, we do expect to receive a dividend return again of $8,441, which then changes the increase to about $6,300 overall. They did provide a couple reasons for the change. As Quentin mentioned earlier, we did have quite a few claims from the hailstorm, July of '23. We do have an open claim right now, increase in payroll, increase in property values, and a slight increase in the rates themselves. So today we're looking for a motion and second to approve the renewal that will be effective October 1st.
Do we know the average split between property and liability?
Offhand, I don't, but it may be in the proposal.
Yeah, so it says, if you look on page 8, they do a little bit of a breakdown, and they say, okay, of the total cost, you have like $2.4 million in annual payroll, $54,000 in total values of real and personal property. We could do the math, you know what I mean? If we want to break it down and say, okay, of that total number, 9 law enforcement officers, 9 times the average payroll, 28 vehicles at their average value, 3 vehicles with agreed amount, value of $204,000, and if you take those and you break them down, I mean, I would say like the vast majority of that pie is real and personal property. Vast majority of it.
Yeah, they typically is. I just didn't know if we knew what ours was. Because I was looking at the same thing, I just couldn't get to a number, so I was curious if we knew what it was.
Gotcha. No, but I'll find out. We'll find out.
All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the MML liability and property pool proposal.
Motion to approve.
All right, the question is or being supported. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Gottler,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Bulls,
Yes.
Watt,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to C. This is pay time off proposal. Mr. Bishop?
Yeah, I would like to just, I want to bring to the attention of this council about paid time off. So we have a situation here in the office, and this is in relation to a report that I gave about a month ago. It started with an overview of the Earned Sick Time Act. This is taking effect in February of 2025, where by law, all part-time employees will be entitled to sick time accruals. Now, we actually have a better accrual system than what the federal government is mandating. However, currently, not all employees are entitled to that based on an employment agreement that they had signed upon hire. So, and they've all kind of staggered in at different times and for different reasons and under different administrations, but they're all kind of a little different, okay? But one thing that they have in common is that they're all part-time employees. They all average about 30 hours a week, give or take. They are all members of the team, and there is quite a bit of flexibility between their schedules. So if somebody cannot work the Friday, somebody who normally had the day off would come and cover them. So they act and operate in a way that they provide coverage for each other. And so I'm thinking about this mandate that we're going to have in February, and knowing that some of our part-time people have sick time accruals and some don't. And I would just like to open up the conversation and discuss on what that would look like if we could just follow the general administrative agreement that we have that allows for part-time employees to earn PTO benefits. Some do. Some do. Some don't. Like I said, based on the time of their hire, they had signed a document under that administration saying, you can come to work for the city of St. Clair, but you're working strictly for money only. No sick time accruals. If your day falls on a holiday and you don't work, you don't get paid. Whereas other part-time people, their day falls on a holiday and they're going to get paid. You see what I'm saying? And so what I'm trying to move us towards is a system so when part-time people come to work for us, we have a part-time position, it is the same offer. There's no dealing. We don't have to think that hard and be that creative. We can just offer a package that says, this is what you're going to receive for working for the city of St. Clair, and it's the same as the person next to you. That's what I'm trying to get us to.
Based on what you said earlier, based on attraction and retention, this is critical to do that.
I think we do need to level the playing field in some ways, and it starts at sick time. Okay. The next one that's coming on the list is personal. So a personal PTO, personal time at hire. Some people, like I said, you get nothing. You get wages, and if you don't work, you don't. Okay. However, we have other part-time employees who, by sake of when they came in, they're allowed to have up to 20 hours, half of what a full-time person gets. And it's a use it or lose it type situation. So part of the personal time that I would be advocating for is to say, okay, they get 20 hours throughout their entire year, 20 hours, which is 2.5 days, that they can use at their disposal. It's half of what the full-timers get. Okay? That value, let's talk money. That value, if I take all of my part-time, from the lowest paid to the highest paid, the average is about $17 an hour, right in the middle. that averages about $340 worth of value.
Do we pay liability insurance and other fees, administrative fees, when we pay people $17 an hour?
On a part-time basis, so we don't pay they don't receive those other benefits like insurances, and they don't.
But we have a
participate.
liability. We pay
We cover
for
them.
workman's comp.
Oh,
and
if
stuff
they
like
were hurt on the job while they're working.
So
for
that
us, for sure.
$17 is not a true number. It's probably 25 or something.
Sure, what they bring home. Oh, sure,
I mean, that's our cost as an employer.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. A general rule of thumb, the way I look at it is you take any employee, you figure out what their base wage is, just figure 30%. Just carve up 30%, and that's the total package, all in, for PTO benefits, their cost of the insurance, those types of things. I think if it's about 30%, I like to use as a rule of thumb. But in this case, still, what I'm advocating for is I want to eliminate the confusion in employee agreements. And I want to bring people on board and recruit them, with one thing in mind. And so it's not one person gets one thing and the other person gets something different. Right?
That 340 was for the personal
Personal.
PTO. Do
Yep.
you have a number for us on the paid time off?
On sick time is $816
Per employee.
per employee.
And we're already paying for a number of those.
We pay currently right now 2,
Of how many?
7. No, correction, 6.
So it'd be 4 additional.
Correct.
Okay.
Vacations also worth $340. Right now, a brand new employee right off comes in. They're entitled 40 hours. This would be 20 hours. So again, another $340. Currently, right now, as I mentioned before, on the holiday pay, I'm not coming to work on Christmas, right? I'm going to be paid for Christmas. Part-time employees, if they're scheduled for Christmas, they'll be paid that day. But the person next to them who just, that rotation, right, or whatever day that was, they will not be. The general administrative agreement speaks to holidays and says that on holidays, you don't get the full benefit of a full 6 hours, or a full 8-hour day, sorry. That value is $1,122. The total number you're looking at, Councilman Bowles, is $2,618 total
Per employee?
per. Some already receive that benefit, so we already pay a portion of that already. And as I mentioned before, sick time, the 816, so we're talking about 40% thereabouts, right? No, about 30%, 35%. Will be mandated in February 2025. We will be implementing sick time come February 2025. So I want to bring this up because we're close to the beginning of a fiscal year. I want to get ahead of what the law tells us to do. I don't want to be just reactive to it. We want to get ahead of it. And maybe I'm just a little overzealous on this particular topic because I just spent 3 days hearing from municipalities around the entire state talking about HR. And I'm a little excited about it that a lot of people are having this problem and we're all trying to solve it, and this seems like an easy one to solve. Right? So
my math is 6 employees at 2618. Is that correct? 6 employees?
correct.
That's $15,000 a year.
Correct.
Look at our budget. There's a drop in the bucket of what we're doing in this city. $15,000 difference, right?
Correct.
To make, I think, workers feel like they're part of an equal system. I think it's a great idea.
I agree.
Are you looking for a motion if I'd like to put this in?
I am. I am. If the board would so choose to do that, I would like to move forward.
How does this roll down to like Pine Shores, Boat Harbor, all of those employees?
Seasonal and temporary employees are different than regular year-long part-time employees.
We're still going to have to manage that.
We will.
You're still going to have duplicate processes, right?
For sick time, for temp and seasonal, yes.
We're not really solving the entire problem, but we are.
But we are eliminating one problem,
But
right?
you're,
Two
you're
systems
moving a
in-house
percentage
here.
down on one side of the column, moving it to the other. I'm not saying it's not a bad idea, but it's the whole of if we do this and we exceed state mandates and we don't have to do this structure, we can do what we do every day. We're still going to have to play on both sides of that fence. We're still going to have that resource draw to have to manage that. Okay, just
It's seasonal. I can't get around the nature of our seasonal and our temporary employees.
I think the world is right now, or the state of Michigan, for our world, is trying to take all this in and how the reality of this is really going to work.
Right.
And the resources that are going to have to be put in place to, it's not just the adjustment to the employee, it's the adjustment to the culture and organization. It's going to hit it in very dynamic capacity.
You know what that being said, and Chris, that's a really good point, the one you're making right now. And so earlier today, you'll see in your inbox, I was a little critical on one of our departments. Just, you'll read it, okay? And the idea is that when we look at budgets and we say, okay, we need to, how do you increase revenue and how do you cut costs? And those things should happen simultaneously. Just because you make $1 here, but you spend $1.50 over here, you did all that work to still be short 50 cents, right? Mm-hmm. So the message that is being sent is, how do you create something sustainable through increased revenue and then finding how to reduce costs at the same time? And that's what we're working towards. So when this comes and this hits, think of Pine Shores, the pool, even, I'd like to increase DPW help, more summer help going over in that direction, right? So we're going to add help. So but we're going to have to follow this new law, which is going to draw on a resource. We can weather that storm a bit better if we zero in on how we can increase the revenue lines, simultaneously saying, hey, this expense is coming. How do we balance that with more revenue? Right?
Right.
So it is. It's a constant push and pull of, how do we afford these programs? Yet at the same time, how do we make ourselves the most competitive? Right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Are there any exempt groups from this law? Agriculture, for example, are sometimes exempt as employees.
No, I don't think. Not this. An employee is an individual engaged in services to the employer.
Wow.
Yeah, well, in this blanket statement, this includes exempt statuses, like it's in there. I think there's a lot more coming, and the only thing I would caution to the group is any decision we make, we should make them on their independent merit. If we want to make a change to our part-time status employees in a certain sector, it should be based on just retention and development only, not necessarily just this. I think this between now and February, we may see a change. We've seen this before. There are things that have never even hit the table that are going to start hitting the table hard, and they may have to make some change and put in a program that may step this in, because of some of the things that are going to be hitting, the private sector versus government, community, and everything else. So if we're going to make a decision now, 5 months ahead of what may or may not be implemented in whole, I think we have to just consciously make it on an individual merit, not this.
I'm in no rush, but I like the proposal. So
Yeah, and I don't disagree with those part-time people in that sector of what do we want to invest, develop, and create. But we also, my question was, we're going to have it on both sides of the fence. So try and keep those waters as clear and not muddy them. We did this for a reason, then we find out that whole reason is now different, right? We've all got a lot to learn, I think, in the next 5 months, and it's going to happen quickly.
Agreed.
Has there been a motion on this?
No,
There's no motion yet?
no.
All right.
Are we making a motion to research this, or what are we actually, I don't have a piece of paper that tells me any numbers or anything.
We have a general administrative agreement on the books that's been written since, and last updated, it was written, 93? Was that what it was? And we've made incremental adjustments, like we don't do longevity anymore. No, I take it back. We do, because Therese Hawkins has been here 38 years. And so, sorry, Therese. But she's watching online, I guarantee it. She doesn't but she's the only one who that applies to, and so it's been updated, and eventually, 10 years from now, that'll go away as well out of the agreement. What the agreement says is exactly what I laid out. The agreement allows for part-time employees to receive half of the benefit of a full-time employee. It says that. We don't use our own administrative agreement because of individual employee agreements that were created at the time of hire. And so what I'm saying is, let's go back to the general administrative agreement and let's get everybody on that playing field. And I can eliminate from our hiring process this individual employment agreement that has different deals for,
And that has merit on its own.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, right
I
on.
think we should pursue that and then talk through it once we have something right in front of us.
Okay.
If we have a choice, we can direct administration to bring us back some more information, and, or we can vote on it tonight, however we see fit. I think I'm getting the feeling that we want some more information and some more direction from city superintendent, or are we ready to?
Well, what are these other things that you're talking about that we need to consider? You're talking about things in the next 5 months. I mean, give us a heads up. That what kinds of things are we looking at that we might need to consider?
Changes in what's coming. I know it's past, but there's a lot of discussion out in, especially in the private sector, on how this is going to work and what's going to happen.
This specific,
Yes, yeah, very much so. So that's what I'm saying, like this, just talking about this small pool of our workforce, then on its own merit, and based on negotiations for new people that fall into that, not our seasonal, right?
Yeah.
Our seasonal will be affected by the change in February, as well as anybody else that doesn't have a benefit that exceeds that, right? Anything that exceeds that's not going to be part of this pool.
Sure.
So I think on its own merit, whatever your thoughts were coming back from your seminar and how to develop all of that other stuff outside of our seasonal, look at that small case. And whether it's next meeting and it's short and simple and you got it all in front of you, just so we have something that we're looking at a little bit firmer,
Sure.
then we can look at it next week or in 2 weeks or in a month. But I think that the whole process of what February 2025 is going to look like, it's still, we know what's coming and we got to prepare for it, but that's our seasonal employee base, right?
Yeah, and so, and really what the seasonal, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you know this is gonna be your world, has a lot to do with minimum wage. This has a lot to do with the wages and the wages increase as it's going to increase from now until 2029. And so seasonal and temporary employees, there's now a new floor on where they can start. That's the
so this
biggest
is the state,
change.
and the state is giving you
Correct.
that mandate. Can you give me the law or number on that?
I will. So it is Earned Sick Time Act,
Yeah, ESTA.
also ESTA, yep. It's also known as Public Act 338 of 2018.
I guess my question to council, or whoever can answer, is this. If in the next month they completely throw this thing out, would we still be wanting to do what we're talking about doing here?
Well, that was my point for putting this on its own merit for this group of
I
part-time employees
I
and
feel
not
like
the entire.
we do don't want to do this if we're
I
talking
do.
about.
Yeah, I agree.
Just in defense of what I just said, we're talking about, I feel two different things. I think seasonal and temporary are going to be treated in a different window because of the minimum wage laws. I think that is going to be something that we need to handle. And we have a lot of seasonal employees. We're pushing 50 plus new bodies that come in every single year for a short term. Okay? It's going to change. What I'm talking about is for 6 current employees who are part-time who receive different benefits based on an employment agreement upon hire. So as a separate issue, I want to zero in on, may I move forward with aligning their part-time status to align equally and to the general administrative agreement?
I'm in favor of that right now.
That's the bucket I want to focus
So
on.
I'll make the motion that we do that.
I'll support.
Right, the motion may support questions.
Yes, I need clarification of the motion. So what I'm hearing, is that there's no changes to the administrative agreement because the part-time benefits are already laid out. But what the motion is to negate the original contracts for these current part-time employees and align them with the current administrative agreement part-time benefits.
Correct.
Correct.
All right, so that's been made and supported. Questions? Let's call a roll on that.
Report?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes, I just would have liked to see everything in writing, but
Wolf?
Yes.
Watt?
Yes.
Stetler?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Number 10, claims and accounts, September 5 and 12, 2024.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to adjourn as presented.
Excuse me, Mayor, one more thing with that motion that just passed. Pardon me, Councilmember Laporte. What is the effective date?
October 1, please.
Thank you.
All right, claims and accounts, September 5 and September 12.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
All right, motion made, supported, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to number 11, public comment. If anybody has any non-agenda items, I'll ask you to be to 3 minutes, please.
Bill Claimer, 1374 South Riverside. I was just curious, did we sign off on Gulf Street?
No.
Is there more work to be done?
Yes.
What do they gotta do to, what's left to be done?
1403 and 1345 and an insurance claim. That's what needs to be done. Those driveways and approaches need to be corrected. We also need to have a final inspection report on all the sidewalks that's been removed and then been replaced. And then they will be done.
They're gonna do any reseeding?
That has been some washouts. It's just the
I've seen homeowners seed in their yard, and that's a pretty bad one though.
I know.
And one other thing that we're talking about Gulf Street, it's been over a week now since they tore the sidewalk out. Did somebody go over and take the caution tape down so people can use the sidewalks in their driveways? And when do you expect that to be final?
Ryan Kern had sent a message out to me that will be on site again. Ryan will be on site this week. I'm going to be meeting with him, and then I will have an update on where they're going to be punching it out.
Now, is that contractor, is he responsible for repatching the asphalt in where he took it out at the walkways? Like say at Palmer Street where they tore out the new road to put the curb cut in?
Oh, anything that's been disturbed based on their work has to be restored back to where it was.
Well, somebody needs to look at them because they tore the asphalt out, the road out, to put the new curb cuts in and the new sidewalk, put stone in there,
Yeah.
never touched it. The sidewalks now are full of stone and dirt, and the
Yeah.
catch basins are full of stone and dirt. They don't drain. So my question is, when's somebody gonna go over there and really take a hard look at what's over there? I mean, you said Bodie should have been here tonight. I think the engineers should come one night and discuss both projects. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Mr. Bishop, I want to thank you for your comments about the bike path. I had written up some things here, and it gets to bother me something terrible, so I had a few things written, but you kind of answered that. And we had a conversation some time ago that kind of reflected that also. But I will read one paragraph that I brought up here. It says, the rework areas were left for last, and appears the contractor has walked off and left us holding a bag, which they've done. They have not been back to our properties. I'm only referring to the steep driveway properties, not the rest of the city. They have not been back except for 4 days, and all they did then was it looked like they were just there for busy work. There was a lot of standing around. They did nub off some of the concrete patches that they did. They nubbed them off with a power sander, and then they kind of used an abrasive block to shine up the rest of the concrete. That was 4 days. That's all they've done on our properties for the entire year, since the beginning of the year, since they started. They've worked other places in town, but our rework was left for last. It appears that the contractor has lost interest with reconstructing our steep driveways, and I hope we can hold their feet to the fire or hire somebody else. This is totally unacceptable, what's going on. It's been a year, and if I did some work like that, the city would be all over me to be getting this done. Who holds these people and the contractors responsible? I don't know. I don't know, if I knew of an answer how to help get this done, I would do it, but in closing, I've heard nothing more about my broken window. Is somebody supposed to be checking with me, or where we are at with that?
I apologize, it's not been done yet.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. As long as it's not forgotten, because they did break it. And the other thing I have has nothing to do with the bike path. You were mentioning roads. Is Cedar on your agenda this year? You know why I'm asking.
Yeah, well, no, I don't know exactly why, but,
Because it gets washed down into the road every time you get a heavy rain.
yeah, Seventh and Eighth and Cedar, have been on my radar.
Okay.
Yes, most definitely.
Will it be addressed this year at all?
As a matter of fact, without breaking any Open Meetings Act, I'm going to start, taking some car rides, or we're going to start going around the city and actually having a discussion and an actual review of these streets, because it benefited us to get our decisions done early. So we will be in this truck sooner than later, so we can get ahead of the spring road, the road plan, just like we did last year. But I think this council needs to be boots on the ground, taking a look and inspecting the wards and the streets that they're going to recommend.
All right, well, I wish you all the best with the deal with the contractors. I'd personally like to see the drawings, to see what they're going to do, whether it's what we discussed or if it's another plan, because they've gone through more sets of drawings with this thing. And I never ever did see the last ones what they did now, because if they ask me for, and not that I count, but I mean, if they're going to do it, they should take us into effect there a little bit, because those driveways are way too narrow. And try going up one time, especially in the winter. I'd rather not see this go into the winter, but it looks like that's what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's go to number 12 then, Mayor and Council. I do have one quick thing. Reminder, folks, this Wednesday, September 18th at 11 o'clock at the memorial area over there in front of Palmer Manor, the Dwayne Williams Memorial Ceremony will take place 11 o'clock this Wednesday, the 18th. And that's open to the public, obviously. Anybody else have something?
St. Mary's Festival, the last weekend in September. I believe it's the 27th through the 29th.
Else? Well, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a good night, everyone. Be careful. Be safe.